Imagine training every day, giving your all, but always being stuck in the crowd. Just another name in the squad, another unforgettable face in the lineup. Here's the harsh truth. Most athletes are stuck being average not because they don't work hard, but because they don't have an edge. Something that helps them stand out and become a truly noteworthy performer. And here's where it gets worse. Over 99% of athletes will never stand out. Because of this, they never make the difference, and they never advance their careers or get given opportunities that deep down they're capable of taking. And this is because they fail to tap into one secret ingredient, something that only the top 1% of athletes consistently use. This thing enables them to stand out from the crowd, be the true impact player, and the athlete that gets the vast majority of titles, praise, and other awards. So what is this secret ingredient? Well, in today's video, I'm going to reveal it and also give you the complete framework to implement it into your own game. So let's get started. Right, to understand the secret ingredient, let's talk about an athlete who really mastered it. The footballing legend Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Picture this, a seemingly impossible ball is crossed into the box. Most strikers would let it sail over their heads or try an awkward, clumsy attempt to control it, but not Zlatan. Instead, he leaps into the air and twists his 6'5" frame like a gymnast, striking the ball with precision that leaves defenders and goalkeepers in complete shock. For years, defenders struggled to figure out how to stop him. His size made him a physical presence, but his movements were graceful, almost impossible to predict. He scored goals that defied logic, using techniques that felt more like something out of martial arts than football. And that's because, in a way, they were. You see, Zlatan wasn't just a footballer growing up. Before he even made his professional dream come true, he was training in Taekwondo. And by the age of 17, he earned a black belt, mastering skills like balance, flexibility, and the ability to strike from seemingly unnatural angles. At the time, it seemed like just a hobby. But as Zlatan climbed the ranks of professional football, it became clear this wasn't just any hobby. It was something much more powerful. This thing gave him an edge, a way to dominate in situations where most players would fail. It wasn't just luck, and it also wasn't something that could be easily taught. So what was it that set Zlatan apart? Well, clearly, Zlatan had an unfair advantage. An unfair advantage is something unique that gives you a distinct edge over the competition. It's not just about being good at your sport, it's about leveraging something that 99% of other athletes in your sport don't have. For Zlatan, that unfair advantage was being an acrobatic assassin. His background in Taekwondo allowed him to master the ball in ways that millions of other football players around the world could only dream of. Zlatan's martial arts training gave him unique transferable qualities that very few players of his size possess. Things like exceptional balance and flexibility, allowing him to stay on his feet and twist in mid-air in ways that most defenders couldn't anticipate. It also gave him unmatched spatial awareness, honed through years of practice striking with precision, even in high-pressure scenarios. And finally, a wide range of motion, making him unpredictable when shooting or controlling the ball. It's no coincidence that Zlatan became a footballer who could score goals that no one else could even imagine attempting. But here's what makes the concept of an unfair advantage so powerful. It's not just limited to Zlatan. Take Kawhi Leonard in the NBA, for example. His massive hands are so large they're almost off the charts for someone his height. And it is these that have allowed him to control the basketball in ways that other players just simply can't. This unique physical trait turned him into one of the greatest defenders of his generation, best seen in completely locking down a prime LeBron James in the 2014 NBA Finals, when Kawhi was just 22 years old. Or think about Alex Honnold, the world-famous free climber. His brain's unique neurological wiring has shown that his amygdala, the area of the brain responsible for the fear response, shows almost no signs of activation, which has allowed him to climb up the craziest of rock faces without any safety equipment, something no amount of practice alone could replicate. And it doesn't have to be some freakish rare brain or body difference that you have. Take Cole Hocker, for example. As a runner throughout his childhood, he started developing an insane kick that would allow him to win races when it looked like he was dead and buried. This is something he continued to work on in high school and at college, and it ultimately allowed him to unexpectedly win gold in the 1,500 meters Olympic final in 2024. So all of these athletes didn't just rely on hard work. They leaned into what made them uniquely different. Because in sport, it's so easy to blend in with the crowd. When you go to trials, tryouts, or other events where there's a selection process, the coaches, scouts, and recruiters have seen it all before. Everyone who gets invited to tryouts or trials is a master of the basics and has a decent enough physical profile. And this means that on paper at least, no one stands out. But the athletes who have an unfair advantage raise an eyebrow and spark some curiosity. They excite the coaches and scouts because when they watch these athletes, they can see that something unique and special is present. And if that thing is honed and shaped through coaching, it can be the difference at the highest level. So even if that athlete is average on a lot of other things compared to the rest of the talent pool, if they have that one special thing that 99% of other athletes don't have, then they're the ones who will get given opportunities. That's the power of an unfair advantage. It makes you impossible to ignore. It creates opportunities that most athletes will never have. And it puts you on a path where the competition simply can't keep up with you, because it's something that is unique to you and can't be copied by anyone else. Now, you might be thinking, this is great, but what about me? How do I find my unfair advantage? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's walk you through a simple step-by-step process to uncover your unfair advantage and start using it to take your game to the next level. So step 1 is explore the categories of unfair advantages. Generally speaking, there are 4 different types of these. So start by asking yourself where you might already stand out. Firstly, you've got transferable skills. Are there activities, hobbies, or other sports that you've done in the past that give you unique skills? Just like Zlatan's taekwondo training, this could be something that gives you an edge that most athletes in your sport don't have whatsoever. Maybe you've practiced gymnastics and have explosive power, or are a pretty decent chess player and therefore have incredible strategic thinking. Next, you've got physiological gifts. So are there physical traits that make you unique? This could be your height, your wingspan, your speed, or endurance. Things like Kawhi Leonard's massive hands or Usain Bolt's stride length. Sometimes your biology can be a natural advantage that others can't replicate no matter what they do. Then you've got tactical weapons. Do you have a specific skill or move that sets you apart from the competition? For example, a monster tennis serve that tires out your opponents, a killer step back jump shot, or a devastating sprint finish like Cole Hocker. These are your signature moves that can change the course of an entire performance. And then lastly, neurological or mental attributes. Is there something about how your brain works that gives you an edge? Like Alex Honnold's fearlessness or Novak Djokovic's ability to remain super calm under pressure. Mental traits can often be the biggest differentiator. So take a moment to reflect on these categories. What do you already have that 99% of your competition might not, and is not something easily replicable? Okay, so step 2 is to identify the real practical advantage. Once you've pinpointed your potential unfair advantage, ask yourself, how can this give me a real advantage during competition? And what specific outcomes can it help me achieve? For example, Zlatan's flexibility and balance let him score goals that others wouldn't have even attempted. Kawhi's hand size let him grab rebounds, steal the ball, and make blocks by the fraction of a fingertip. Your unfair advantage isn't just about being unique. It must also lead to a practical competitive edge that directly impacts your performance. Otherwise, it's just something for show, something that might look good, but it doesn't actually improve your chances of winning or succeeding. So really list out all the things it can help you achieve in terms of boosting a performance or being the deciding factor during critical moments. And then step 3 is to create your identity around it. This is where you turn your unfair advantage into something iconic. Give it an actual name, a label that helps you own it and lean into it during competition. For example, Kawhi Leonard earned the nickname the Klaw. Zlatan could be called the Acrobatic Assassin, or Cole Hocker could be labeled the Kick King. When you name it, you claim it. It becomes part of your athletic identity, something that you can tap into mentally before every game, match, or race. So just ask yourself, what name encapsulates my unfair advantage? And look, this can feel a bit cringe, don't get me wrong, but the point is to have this name so that you can remind yourself of it when you might find yourself drifting or blending in during a performance. It's just a simple reminder to get this weapon out at the next available opportunity to make a difference. And then step 4 is to hone and weaponize it. Your unfair advantage is only powerful if you train it to perfection. Identify specific drills or exercises to sharpen it and make it even more dominant. For example, if your advantage is speed, incorporate even more explosive sprints into your training so that you get even faster. If it's a killer tennis serve, work on placement and power to make it unreturnable. Or if it's tactical awareness, spend more time watching game footage, practicing your scanning, or analyzing strategies. Remember, your unfair advantage is absolutely useless if it's inconsistent or not fully developed. So the better you refine it, the more unstoppable you'll become. So don't just settle for being another name on the team sheet or another competitor in the lineup. Go out there, find your unfair advantage, and use it to make your mark. Because the truth is, the opportunities and success that you're chasing aren't just reserved for the lucky or the gifted. They're for the athletes who choose to own what makes them different.